What if I told you that one of the most watched weddings in modern history
Well, in a TV world exclusive, the victim
might have been built on a lie? What if the fairy tale romance that captivated millions, the progressive love story that supposedly modernized the monarchy,
tax Samantha Markle joins me now to give her side of the story,
was actually something far more calculated? Tonight,
But the media found us. And
we're diving deep into allegations so explosive, they've been scrubbed from mainstream media. We're talking about family members who've gone on record with shocking claims, anonymous whistleblowers who say they know the truth, and documents that allegedly prove everything we thought we knew
MO
was wrong.
became, oh my God, they found my family. And in my opinion, this is what it seemed like.
I don't know your middle name. I don't know your birth.
This isn't about celebrity gossip. This is about deception on a global scale. This is about asking the uncomfortable question: how far would someone go to secure their place in history? You've seen the Oprah interview. You've heard of the Netflix series. You've watched the carefully crafted image of victimhood and resilience. But what if there's another story? What if the real story has been hidden in plain sight? By the end of this investigation, you'll have all the evidence, and you'll have to decide for yourself. Is this the greatest cover-up of our time, or the most elaborate conspiracy theory ever created? Because once you see what I'm about to show you, you can't unsee it. Let's start with the story everyone knows. The one that's been repeated in every magazine, every interview, every documentary. Meghan Markle, born August 4th, 1981, in Los Angeles. Mixed-race daughter of a lighting director and a yoga instructor. Struggled actress who worked her way up through small TV roles and commercial work. Finally landed her breakthrough role as Rachel Zane on the USA Network Suits. Then, in 2016, fate intervened. A blind date. Prince Harry. Love at first sight. Within 18 months, they were engaged. The world watched as this American actress became the first biracial woman to marry into the British royal family. It was perfect. It was progressive. It was exactly what the monarchy needed to modernize its image. But here's where it gets interesting. From day one, there were inconsistencies. Take the engagement interview. Meghan claimed she barely knew who Harry was when they met. She said she'd never researched the royal family. She even said she'd never Googled Harry before their first date. Really? A 35-year-old actress living in Toronto, working in international television, had never heard of Prince Harry? The same Prince Harry who'd been front-page news for 2 decades? The party prince? The Afghanistan veteran? The man who walked behind his mother's coffin in one of the most watched moments in television history? Even more curious, Meghan's own social media told a different story. Deleted posts showed she'd visited London multiple times. She'd posted about the royal family. She'd even attended Wimbledon and taken photos near Buckingham Palace. So which story was true? The carefully crafted narrative of an innocent American who stumbled into royalty? Or the more uncomfortable reality of someone who'd been positioning herself for this opportunity for years? This was just the beginning, because as royal watchers started paying attention, more questions emerged. Enter Samantha Markle, Meghan's half-sister. And from the moment the engagement was announced, Samantha became the voice that wouldn't be silenced. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jealous sister, money grab, 15 minutes of fame. That's certainly what the mainstream media suggested. But let's look at what Samantha actually said, because some of her claims are troubling. First, the poverty narrative. In multiple interviews, including the Oprah special, Meghan painted a picture of financial hardship. She talked about working at a restaurant to pay for school. She mentioned her father's bankruptcy. She created the image of someone who'd overcome disadvantage to achieve success. Samantha's response? That's complete fiction. According to court documents Samantha provided, Thomas Markle wasn't bankrupt during Meghan's childhood. He was actually quite successful in his career as a lighting director, working on major TV shows like Married, with Children. He'd paid for Meghan's private school education at Immaculate Heart High School. Tuition, $14,000 per year in the 1990s. He'd covered her Northwestern University education. Total cost, over $200,000. But here's the kicker. Samantha produced receipts, bank statements, school records, tax returns, evidence that during Meghan's so-called struggling actress years, Her father was sending her thousands of dollars in support. Why would Meghan rewrite her financial history? Samantha's theory: victim narratives sell better than privileged stories. Then came the family abandonment claims. During the Oprah interview, Meghan suggested she'd been cut off from her family. She painted herself as isolated, unsupported, dealing with royal pressure alone. Samantha's counter-narrative: she cut us off the moment Harry proposed. We went from family to security risks overnight. Phone records Samantha released showed dozens of unanswered calls and texts to Meghan between 2017 and 2018. Birthday messages: congratulations on the engagement. Requests just to talk. All ignored. But the most explosive allegation was yet to come. Because Samantha didn't just question Meghan's backstory. She questioned whether the children we've seen are actually Meghan's biological children. This is where our investigation moves from family drama into potential scandal territory. And I want to be clear, what I'm about to present are allegations. Claims that have been made by multiple sources, but that have not been definitively proven. However, the evidence is concerning. It started with social media whispers in 2019. Anonymous accounts claiming to have inside knowledge about Meghan's pregnancies. Then, a woman appeared in several viral TikTok videos, claiming to be a surrogate who had carried Archie from Meghan and Harry. She called herself DL, short for Donna Louise, and her story was detailed, specific, and disturbing. According to DL's account, she was approached through a surrogacy agency in 2018. The client was described as a high-profile couple who required absolute discretion. The contract, she claimed, included unprecedented secrecy clauses and a $2 million payout. DL described medical procedures at private clinics in London and Los Angeles. She provided dates, locations, and names of medical staff. She even claimed to have copies of contracts and medical records. But here's where it gets really interesting. DL's timeline matched exactly with Meghan's announced pregnancy dates. She claimed the embryo transfer happened in March 2018. Meghan announced her pregnancy in October 2018. DL said she delivered in April 2019. Archie's birth was announced May 6, 2019. The timing was perfect, too perfect according to skeptics. But DL didn't stop there. She made even more explosive claims about Lilibet's birth. She said she was asked to be a surrogate again in 2020, and that Lilibet was born to her in June 2021, not to Meghan. Now, before you dismiss this as internet conspiracy, consider the circumstantial evidence that royal watchers have compiled. Evidence point 1. The missing hospital photos. Every royal birth in recent memory has included the traditional hospital steps photo. Diana with William and Harry. Kate with George, Charlotte, and Louis. It's not just tradition, it's proof of birth. Meghan and Harry broke this tradition with both children. The official explanation? They wanted privacy.
Meghan
But
and
critics
Harry walked
noted that
right past
every
Queen
other
Elizabeth,
aspect
right
of their
past
lives
her.
was
Nope.
carefully documented and shared. Why would they suddenly become camera shy for the most important moments? Evidence point 2. The medical
was a
team
statement
mystery royal
from that
births
exact
typically
moment.
involve the Queen's personal physicians and well-documented medical teams. The doctor who delivered Kate's children was publicly acknowledged and honored. With Archie and Lilibet, the medical teams were never named. The hospitals were kept secret until after the births. Even the birth certificates were registered differently than traditional royal births. Evidence point 3. The physical inconsistencies. Online communities have analyzed hundreds of photos from Meghan's pregnancy appearances. They pointed out what they call impossible physics. Instances where her bump appeared to change size or shape between photos taken hours apart. The most viral example, photos from her baby shower in New York, where her bump appeared dramatically smaller in candid street photos compared to posed pictures from the same day. Evidence point 4. The behavioral patterns. Royal pregnancy watchers noted that Meghan's behavior during pregnancy differed significantly from other royal mothers. She wore high heels throughout both pregnancies, including stilettos days before Archie's birth. She maintained an intensive travel schedule, including international flights in her third trimester. Kate, by contrast, suffered from severe morning sickness and reduced her public appearances during all her pregnancies. Evidence point 5. The legal silence when DL's videos went viral legal teams moved quickly. Videos were taken down. Social media accounts were suspended. Cease and desist letters were reportedly sent. But here's what's interesting. Instead of releasing medical records or providing proof of natural birth, which would have ended the speculation immediately, the response was purely legal. Silence and suppression. To supporters of the surrogacy theory, this looked like confirmation. Why not just prove them wrong with evidence? Now, let's talk about how this story exploded online and why it's so persistent. In the pre-internet era, stories like this might have stayed in tabloid magazines or gossip circles. Today,
You know how to
one
curtsy,
viral
right?
TikTok can reach 10 million people in 24 hours. The MEGHAN surrogacy theory became a perfect case study in modern conspiracy propagation. It had everything: a famous target, mysterious circumstances, circumstantial evidence, and official silence. YouTube channels dedicated to royal truth gained hundreds of thousands of subscribers. Reddit communities dissected every photo, every public appearance, every official statement for evidence. But here's how modern conspiracies work. They don't need proof. They need plausibility and pattern recognition. Take the moon bump theory. Believers claimed Meghan wore a prosthetic pregnancy belly during public appearances. They analyzed photos where her bump appeared to fold or move unnaturally. They created side-by-side comparisons with other pregnant women. They built an entire evidence library. Professional photographers and pregnancy experts debunked most of these images, explaining lighting, angles, and normal pregnancy variations. But debunking doesn't spread as fast as accusations. The algorithm effect made everything worse. Once you watched one video questioning Meghan's pregnancy, the algorithm served up dozens more. Soon, viewers were in a complete echo chamber where every piece of evidence reinforced the theory. Social media researchers call this confirmation bias amplification. When people want to believe something, they'll find patterns everywhere, even where none exist. But the most fascinating aspect was the community that formed around the theory. These weren't just random conspiracy theorists. Many were educated women, mothers themselves, who felt something was off about Meghan's pregnancies. They created detailed timelines. They analyzed medical possibilities. They researched surrogacy laws in different countries. In many ways, they conducted more thorough investigations than traditional media. The problem? Investigation without verification becomes speculation. And speculation, when repeated enough times, starts to feel like fact. So why does this story matter? Why spend 20 minutes analyzing allegations about one celebrity couple? Because the Meghan Markle surrogacy theory represents something much larger about how truth works in the digital age. We're living in an era where official narratives compete with crowdsourced investigations, where silence is interpreted as guilt, where the absence of evidence becomes evidence of cover-up. The traditional gatekeepers, mainstream media, official statements, institutional authority have lost their monopoly on truth-telling. Now, anyone with a smartphone can become an investigative journalist. Anyone can expose inconsistencies. Anyone can build a following by questioning official stories. This democratization of investigation has positive aspects. It exposed real corruption. It's held powerful people accountable. It's given voice to legitimate whistleblowers. But it's also created a world where every public figure lives under a microscope of suspicion, where every gap in information is filled with speculation, where the most dramatic explanation often wins, regardless of evidence. Meghan Markle became the perfect target for this new reality. She's famous enough to matter, controversial enough to generate engagement, and private enough to create gaps for speculation to fill. Whether the surrogacy allegations are true or false almost becomes secondary to what they represent. The collision between traditional privacy and digital transparency, between institutional authority and crowdsourced truth. The real question isn't whether Meghan used a surrogate. The real question is whether any public figure can maintain privacy in an age where privacy itself looks suspicious. And so we reach the end of our investigation.
I think the reason
20
that they
minutes of
are
allegations,
Master Archie
evidence, and
Miss Lily
analysis.
Beth still
You've
is
heard
because
Samantha's
a
claims
formal
about
decision-
fabricated hardship and family abandonment. You've seen the circumstantial evidence around the pregnancies. You've witnessed how internet communities can build compelling narratives from fragments of information. But you've also seen how modern conspiracy theories operate, how confirmation bias amplifies suspicion, how the absence of proof becomes its own form of evidence. So what's the truth? Option 1. Believe the dramatic narrative, the calculated rise to power, the rewritten backstory, the hidden surrogates and secret contracts, a masterclass in image manipulation that fooled the world. Option 2. Accept that fame creates scrutiny and scrutiny creates suspicion. That privacy is not evidence of deception. That sometimes the official story is actually the true story. Option 3. Stay in the gray area. Acknowledge that we may never know the complete truth. That public figures live in a space between fact and fiction, where every story is partial and every narrative is constructed. Which option speaks to you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are you convinced by the evidence? Or do you think this is internet speculation run wild? If you want more deep dives that separate fact from fiction, subscribe and hit that notification bell. Because in a world where truth is increasingly negotiable, asking the right questions matters more than ever. Thanks for watching. And remember, the loudest voice isn't always the truest one.